it can be quite helpful. Or if you're doing like inquiry and you're doing some topic that you've never done before, like you've got no background information on, because resources in New Zealand teaching, as you probably know, aren't great.
This is something we'll probably pin it for now, but this might lead into something interesting about New Zealand education, New Zealand histories, wondering how much in ChatGPT and OpenAI, how much do they have of New Zealand history resources versus how much of the resource they have are actually, assigned to prove true that have been put up online that relate to your local story and that sort of stuff.
Okay, just so you guys know.
We are.
Carry on.
Oh, kia ora.
Go from there.
Because if you're using ChatGPT to create lesson plans and you're asking it, hi, I'd like to have lesson plans for local histories and local stories for my area, the local iwi in my town, while I'm teaching PE. So come up with a lesson plan that can integrate all these things together. What is it drawing on? What resources? And because I know for our local iwi in, say, the Mercury Bay, there's Ngāti Hei. And when you're wanting to create lesson plans that relate to local histories, it was stressful because I want to make sure I have the right story, the right person, the right this. Is OpenAI going to be as reliable as Mātua Joe Davis?
I definitely wouldn't trust it, that's for sure.
Yeah. Now, is that based on you wouldn't trust it because of cultural tapu? It's sacred. That there are cultural things that you want to get right. But PE, no, PE is PE. Just
exactly.
There's no sacred form of PE in sport, unless you really love cricket and that's your one sport, which is me.
Yeah, I'm a big cricketer. Used to work for Northern Districts Cricket.
No.
Yeah, fist bump across the table. Boom.
You're saying that's right at the start of the show. Now we have a problem.
First job out of university, worked for Northern Districts Cricket. Didn't want to teach anymore.
Grant Bradburn has lived across my family property. Yeah, he's just left.
That was my favourite shop as a kid, just underneath the stadium there. Grant Bradburn Sports. Yeah.
What a champion. Nice guy.
Yeah.
Did a lot of coaching in Hillcrest and Hamilton.
I played quite a bit with his son. He's got a couple sons my age. They're quite good as well, but I think where's he at the moment?
Well, they'd have to be. He's signed a contract to go coach overseas. Don't quote me.
He's not Pakistan.
Is it Pakistan?
No.
That's in my head, but it might be another country out there.
Yeah, but
how
he's
massive is cricket in Pakistan, in India?
It's crazy.
Hey, what?
Yeah, man. If you're talking like biggest salaries, people always talk about like football, right? But you get your contract for IPL and you'll make, $2.5 million US for those top earners for 6 weeks.
It's crazy. Yeah,
that's big money.
Because it's a massive population as well.
1 billion people in India alone are watching it, and they sell that
to... Yeah, because I'm pretty sure this is right. I'm pretty sure Virat Kohli has more followers than like LeBron James and all of those people. Like he's got more followers than the big basketball players. And not many people would know who he is here.
And yet LeBron James probably doesn't have a TV commercial selling acne cream.
Yeah, exactly.
That pimples gotta go, gotta go, gotta go.
Really?
Such a great video. Him and Rishabh Pant do that video together, and they're both sort of pointing at each other's faces and rubbing cream on, and then it photoshops them out. Oh,
this is my favourite part of the IPL season. Just all the New Zealanders having to do the ads over there. They'll get Kane Williamson trying to act out some ad for
having a cup of tea, dipping a biscuit in.
Great cricketer, but the world's worst actor.
Chai latte.
Yeah. How good.
And
what a start.
And for you guys, there's the thing, like, because the games can go for hours and you might not necessarily have a winner.
They can go for days.
That freaks me out. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why? You might not even have a winner. And
I don't know how
days.
far down this rabbit hole you want to go.
We don't want to go there.
The IPL we're talking about.
I'm talking to fans, so I might as well not start.
Yeah, that IPL that's short format. The game's over in 3.5 hours, and sometimes earlier if a team sucks.
Yeah.
So those games almost always have a winner, and if they happen to draw, which has only happened a couple of dozen times.
Every time we're in a final.
Every time we're in a final, super over. They always have an extra bit of time, like a football golden point, but you have to actually score.
Right. How old are you, Lachie?
How old am I?
Yeah.
I'm 24.
24?
Yeah.
When did you start teaching?
I started teaching, so straight out of high school I went to university and studied teaching.
Sorry, can we just stop there? What on earth possessed you to do that?
That's a great question. No, I had some amazing teachers on my journey. And you know what they say, those that can't do teach. So I thought that was where I was heading.
3 of us.
Yeah, exactly. Got 3 teachers here. But yeah, so always loved helping people. I probably stemmed from when I was younger, working at a sort of youth group in Christian camp, being a leader there. I think I sort of enjoyed helping people out then. And yeah, so move through school. I wanted to be an archaeologist at first, but yeah, I think I just got a little bit scared because there's not that many jobs around. Didn't want to take the risk, and teaching was a pretty safe alternative.
Why archaeology? Just what was there a film? Was there a person in your life? What made you want to go and dig? Or was it what, Indiana Jones? Was that
Honestly,
action hero?
Bit of everything. Yeah. So from a young age, I was only watching the History Channel. I didn't watch any cartoons really. I was a real nerd. So yeah, I mean, Indiana Jones, great movies. And then Time Team on the History Channel. I don't know if you remember that. It's like an English one where they just go around little villages and dig up stuff. I used to love that. So yeah, I think that. But then when I realised here in Aotearoa, there's not a lot of archaeological work, and lots of our history as well is sort of wooden. So things don't tend to last as long, and we don't have a written sort of history as well. So we don't know where lots of these places are for starters. So it's a very complicated thing and not very well paid. But I'd love to get into it someday. Like I'd love to be a part of it somehow. It would be such a cool thing to do. Because
when you send me your your little write-up, you say that you're not a historian, but you do love history. And the thing with history, for me, it's that we usually get the story of the winners. We usually get the story of the people who succeeded in whatever wars, the conqueror. Yeah, like, did you click for that straight away? Like, how is your process of going and understanding history as an adult now? Yeah, well, it's quite interesting because, especially around the sort of the Aotearoa history, you grow up, I guess, thinking that Captain Cook's this great guy that came over, he discovered Aotearoa, everyone was happy, we signed a treaty, we all high-fived, and then, everything's been good since. And
that's what you teach all the way up to year 10, I hope.
And that is, that's what we teach. There's the entire lesson for all of their schooling.
ChatGPT, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for coming. But yeah, so it wasn't until I was probably 15 or 16 when I started taking history at high school that I learned a bit more and started understanding what really happened here. I had an incredible teacher, I often talk about him, Mr. Hansen. Shout out, Mr. Hansen.
Shout out, Mr. Hansen. So you were in high school sort of 8 years ago at that stage, and New Zealand Histories was part of the program?
It was if you took history, but I don't think it was as much unless you were taking history. I don't remember covering much of it in like social studies or anything, so it was kind of a specialist thing. But yeah, so he was an incredible teacher, and we went for lots of field trips, which really helped me because I was kind of all over the place in class. I was that naughty kid, I couldn't stay focused, so these trips where I got to see the places made a big difference for me, But yeah.
Are you good in history? Do you dig a little bit, right?
I am sort of jack of many trades, master of none of those trades, but I always enjoy meeting new people, as you know, with the show being a great format. But New Zealand Histories I found that I never really got New Zealand history even when taking Te Reo Māori. A lot of the Te Reo Māori courses are different when I was 5, early days with Whaiadoke at Marion School, and then all our teachers through high school and at St John's. You learn a lot of the songs. You learned some of the rituals, the practices, the tikanga, what you do at certain events or ceremonies. If you're going away on a school camp, you learn something. But you never really delved into actual histories of events that happen in your local area or related to your local iwi tribe group. You'd also learn about the mythology and you do artwork and all of that. But for me, I don't think I had any lesson ever that featured a local story that was relevant to me. Waitangi, of course, was an event and they signed a treaty or whatever. But you never got anything related to where you were for my education.
Yeah, I think in many places as well, it's very much still like that. Because, that was the extent of it through my primary school until I got to high school. We might have learned about the treaty, which was always connected to signing your class treaty and not breaking the class rules or whatever. Like that was the extent of it.
Just on that, do you think that's sort of a failed model? You learn about the Tiriti o Waitangi, and then you come up with a class treaty. How many people break that class treaty and ironically are modelling what may have happened in the greater scheme of things?
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty accurate representation of what happened, I suppose. But yes, it's a strange sort of system because you're trying to model your whole class thing on this thing that's, failing in New Zealand anyway. But I don't think it's a great way to teach Aotearoa history at all. I think It's quite a tokenistic thing, and it's hard for it not to be tokenistic when you're just trying to lump it with a class treaty, like just with your class expectations.
Well, there's a local story I have from when I was teaching in Mercury Bay Area School, and there's a place called Lovers Rock, and it's really close to school, so I was like, oh, well, we can do a field trip and do some filming for Year 10 Media Studies, the class I was taking. Great field trip, did all the paperwork, easy to sign. It's only a 5-minute walk. I think you helped me, Leo, with the paperwork. 5-minute walk, go film for an hour, 5-minute walk back, you arrive back at break time, do the role, easy. Did the whole field trip, and then eventually was told, well, do you know about Lovers Rock? And I was like, no. Oh, no. You weren't there for those local history days. I was like, no, it was before I got there as a teacher. And it's a sacred tapu place. There are events that happen in Māori wars and a Māori history with different iwi at war. Sort of there was a lover's story, but in an essence of Romeo and Juliet in it, where they couldn't be together, and then there was murder and death. All of this happening. I should not have been in that place doing those films. We did them. It was a mistake. Great learning for the kids. But for me, come away going, wow, there's a place 5 minutes from where I've been all this time with this ridiculously deep, rich story, and I had no idea about it.
Yeah, it's
Being
crazy.
informed changed me as a teacher.
100%. And it's something you notice everywhere. Eh? Like there's so many things, like driving up from Kirikiriroa, Hamilton, up to Auckland, and you go past Rangariri on the side, you know. And like for my entire childhood, I had no idea what had happened there. I didn't know that it was sort of the biggest, sort of bloodiest battle of the New Zealand land wars. It's just a place, you know, the highway runs through the middle of it. So there's all these places everywhere, and you just don't get taught about them. I remember, like, I think in primary school the most history I did would have been about World War I, World War II, and then a lot about the ancient Greeks, Romans, Egyptians, but we never looked into sort of Aotearoa history or Māori history before.
How much autonomy do you have to come up with a program that includes that as teachers?
Good question. It's a hard one because most schools that I've worked at have an inquiry cycle. So the inquiry cycle consists of something you do each term and you rotate through them. So if it's not part of that, it's not compulsory teaching.
Right.
But like for people like me who just love it, I'd link it through my literacy all the time anyway. But in the last few years since the Labour government, it's now compulsory to teach Aotearoa history. So it's part of the curriculum now, which is amazing, which is such a positive step. But the biggest issue so far is there hasn't been a lot of tools or things to help prepare teachers for that. That's all well and good saying you have to teach this. But if you don't give teachers resources to do it, it's a pretty complicated thing. And I think that's what lots of people struggle with, especially if you're not confident in that area.
Yeah.
But yeah.
In a small community like the Coromandel and many places that are isolated or an hour away from a big centre, the resources on the time of your local iwi, I would love to spend 2 whole weeks with Mātua Joe Davis, and we'll probably get into 3 or 4 really, really deep and rich, meaningful local stories that I could then try and work with him to go, how can I teach this when I'm teaching theatre, lighting and stage? Like, how can I do this with drama? How can I do this with English? How would I bring this into a music lesson? Having that expertise, going, hi, Mātua Joe Davis, you know so many wonderful things. Can you help me make this into a music lesson? You'd almost want a team collaboration of him, maybe the Mātua Brandon, we'll get him in there as well. It's such a team effort, but how do you steal, there'll be 60 teachers at one school and each of them want their 2 weeks. Everyone wants those resources. And I remember being nervous. It's sort of similar. I want to do something. I have autonomy to do it. Do I have the confidence and all the resources to do it confidently that I'm doing everything justice?
Yeah, that's a hard thing, eh? I think that's what lots of teachers struggle with as well. Like, lots of people have the passion. They want to do it. They want to do a good job, but they just don't, as you say, they don't have the confidence to deliver. They don't want to do the wrong thing and get sort of backlash or get in trouble. And so it's quite a hard thing, but, I think we're working towards a more positive thing. So hopefully years to come.
That's where I wanted to go with a new government that is making so many big changes. Like how is the prospect? Like, how do you see the upcoming years in education?
It's interesting. One of my favourite things is how they're bringing this really revolutionary policy. We've got to teach an hour of reading, writing and maths. Which as any teacher I've ever worked with will know, that has been what we've been doing as long as teaching's been a thing, really. Like, how else would you fill your day? So, I mean, that's going to be a big change for us, trying to work out how we're going to manage this.
It'd be nice if there were some books to do with mathematics we could rely on.
Honest, I mean, yeah, you have to start teaching.
Good if a school had a library, that might help.
It's ridiculous, eh? So, it's pretty interesting, to be honest with you. I can't see at the moment too many changes for my daily life, which is good because they just want us to do the same things. But yeah, it's interesting. I think there'll be some teachers though that change how they teach because of it, which is kind of sad. Like there'll be lots of ones that may have tried a little bit of te reo Māori teaching and they'll be like, oh, I don't need to do that anymore. Like there's kind of that stuff that could happen, which would be sad. But for me, I don't think it's going to change a great deal. But yeah, it's a bit of a shambles.
Lachie, you just alluded to it, but earlier, before we were talking on the show, you mentioned how you start your day as a teacher. And to me, it's insane, but also inspiring. When do you get to school?
Yeah, so I'm a bit of an early bird. I like to get to school about 6:30. So I get to school 6:30 most mornings, or 6:30 to 6:45, at latest 7. So I like to be the first one to turn the alarm off, and there's just this incredible peace at a school when you're the first one there. You know, before there's 700 kids running around and all the other staff. So just, you know, walking across to my classroom, I've got a record player in there, which is cool. We've done some projects with my class where we get their songs pressed on vinyl, so we like to be able to listen to them. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Amazing. Can
you take us into that? That sounds like a cool project.
Yeah, okay, we'll go to that for a second. Yeah, so we've done a few cool projects with some of my students. Like, I think 2 years ago we did a project with Liam Finn, son of Neil, amazing solo artist and now in Crowded House. So we learnt some songs and yeah, we played it live with him, which was pretty epic, and got it pressed on vinyl. And then just this last year we did a project with Jason Kerrison of Op Shop, and our kids learnt to play No Ordinary Thing. And we also got that pressed on vinyl, which was pretty cool.
So just on that, as a project, are you just reaching out through an email or through a connection? And like, how is it structured into your day or weeks, or to get it filmed, to get it recorded? How did that all happen?
Yeah, well, so I normally just flick one of them a message. I've known Liam for a little bit, and he's very generous with his time always. So just slide into the sort of DMs, and yeah.
What's a DM?
A DM, like a
direct message.
Direct message.
Oh, yep,
yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Direct message.
Blonde moment.
Fabian.
Blonde moment. Apologies to all blind people.
But yeah, so yeah, do that, and then from there it's just like the kids are so driven to do these sorts of things. They're normally practicing at lunchtime, at morning tea. We'll try to get some class time if we can. Like for most of last year, for the second half, I had a drum kit set up in my class where students would just be jamming with headphones on, like whenever they had a spare moment. So, like our drummer, she was pretty incredible. She learned to play the drums pretty much just so she could be part of that performance with her friends. She just wanted to be part of it with it because all her mates were singing. So I thought that was pretty epic.
School of Rock, man, that's awesome.
It's pretty cool. Like,
and drummers, like
drummers are special, you know. They're cool people.
Right? You can just rock up and learn something. Most people can. No, Fabian? Not really. No, I'm joking.
Okay, and then drummers. You get to, was it a live performance in the classroom, or do you perform it to the school? How do you get that? Technically, what are you doing?
Well, Liam's one was hard because he was on tour with Crowded House at the time. So he did his one live over Zoom. So we played it live with him over Zoom. We interviewed him, asked lots of questions, and then Jason Kerrison's was the same actually because he lives so far up north. So we did it over Zoom, but we spent over hours with them just playing songs and chatting, which was pretty amazing. But yeah, and then I've got this incredible man that works at our school, probably the greatest man of all time, Jesse O'Brien, who was on New Zealand Idol twice. He's been on The Amazing Race, like a local legend. And he does all the mixing, and yeah, he's just the coolest man ever. So it always sounds pretty professional.
Shout out Jesse O'Brien.
Sounds like someone we want on the Altbays show, eh?
Honestly, Jesse would be so good on the show.
Jesse,
yeah.
Wait for my DM.
Yeah, he's our student support worker, student and whānau support worker. So just the most caring and incredible person to talk to. Yeah,
cool.
He's amazing. You should definitely get him on. It'd be a good listen.
Let's do it, and we'll bring you as a co-host. There you go.
Yeah, I'll be his driver. I can do the chauffeur.
Yeah.
I like that.
Okay, so let's go back to the ritual, the morning ritual.
Right. Yeah,
so you put your record on?
Yeah, so I've got a record player in class, put a record on. I like to try to listen to a full side of the record, and then at the halftime when I turn it, I go get my second coffee. And then at this point, students and people are starting to turn up. So, yeah, kind of just ease into the morning that way and ready to take on the day. But, yeah, I had a friend, Tom, that's came to my new school with me, which is pretty exciting. Each morning towards the end of the year, we'd have these sort of band sessions together. So the whole year 8 team, all of us teachers would come together and play songs in class, and all the students would come, and it would just be this massive like mosh at 8 in the morning, singing mainly Red Hot Chili Peppers, which was pretty fun.
Fun. The connection. Do you have good memories from your teachers?
From my teachers, I love the teachers I've had. I think they're a big reason as to why I'm teaching. There's lots that's come to mind. Leanne Adams from Rukuhea, my primary school. John Hanson, as I mentioned, like these people, changed my life. So yeah, shout out to them. And I think one of the biggest reasons I got into teaching was because of them, and also the opportunities they gave me as well. And I think that's why I'm so passionate for trying to get all these different projects across the line, because these moments meant so much to me as a kid. So I kind of hope, I can give it to someone else, and, to have sort of 12, 13-year-old students have recorded live with Jason Kerrison and stuff. That's a pretty cool thing, and that makes me really proud to just and see what they get from it. It's an unreal thing. But yeah,
that's cool. Did you have any family involved in education before that, or were your parents good teachers or local stories, or how did your family come into education with you?
Yeah, well, my granddad was a principal in Auckland for years, so education's kinda in the family.
Was he one of those terrifying principals with the big cane, the suit wearer, walks through the corridors with the clipboard and just smacks kids around the ears? Because he would be the right age.
Honestly, I'd love to know. He's the kindest, most gentle person. I can't imagine he would have ever caned anyone. If he did, it would have been very guilty.
Teaching does things to people. Yeah.
That is true, but I don't think I would have ever had that in me. I don't know how they would have done it. No matter. I don't think I've ever been that frustrated with a student. I'd be like, I wish I had a cane right now.
Give it a few years, mate. You're only 24.
That's true. I'm new into the profession.
Time heals all things.
Yeah. Maybe when I get a bit older, a bit grumpier, a bit more stressed, but yeah, for now, no.
Great. Is the school that you're currently working in, is it a private school or a public school?
So yeah, I've just moved to a new school, Barclay Normal Intermediate. Shout out Barclay.
Shout out.
Yeah, great place. So they're a public school. So a normal middle school goes from year 7 to 10. So the first 2 years of high school. Yep. But yeah, just a public school. But yeah, pretty excited to start my journey there. Some great people there as well. So.
And the one that you were before, was it a public school as well?
Yeah, public school as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you see? Do you get a lot of? How do I put this? We have the counselors. We have the people who look after the mental health of the whānau, not student welfare. So not just the students, but also looking after the whānaus. Is it something that links to the teaching job as well? Like, do you end up paying attention and being affected, like not in a bad way, not in the bad sense of the word, but like, having to do that part of the job as well, or not?
Yeah, 100%. Like you know, as a teacher, like I think especially in the primary area, you're with those kids. I mean, at times more than their parents are, more than their families are. You're with them for most of the waking day, so you get to know those students incredibly well, and you learn a lot about their family dynamics and what's going on. And it can be a pretty terrifying thing, really. Like it's
so challenging, so different families.
100%. Like some of the things these students have gone through, I can't even imagine. They're things I've never had to experience, and it's very humbling to see what some students have to go through, and they still come to school every day with a smile on their face, just ready to learn. So that's a very powerful thing for me. It's very grounding, but
I think it's an interesting thing that sort of to go on that point, you can find out, who the difficult kids are, the tricky ones are, and then some point you just hear and you find out a bit about what they've been through. And all of a sudden your perspective goes from that irritating kid, you're going, what a miracle they're actually at school at all, and they're not just sitting there crying nonstop in a hospital. Like
100%.
the resilience, the strength of some kids from truly tragic places. And it just changes your mindset completely as a teacher.
It's 100%. It's crazy. But, I won't get into any of the stories really, but some of the things you hear are honestly mind blowing. Like I remember driving home one day, like almost in tears, like how does this, young man have to go through so much? How do they have so much pain at such a young age? Like how is that fair?
And you start looking at yourself and you go, what did I grow up with? I was so lucky.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you call mum and go, you're great.
Yeah,
Thanks.
exactly. All the times I thought they were strict or dumb or whatever, like I'm so blessed to have you. Like, what incredible
All
parents.
those social media posts. Mum, when I said you're dumb back in 2015, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I didn't mean it. You're actually pretty cool.
Man, love talking about education, but we got so much to talk about here tonight. So your page on Instagram, pretty cool page, Aotearoa History _ right? Aotearoa History _ So for the people watching us, make sure to check it out. Beautiful job, recent as well, right? You started not that long ago.
Yeah, very recent. So I had the idea. Well, the page kind of came about because two of my good friends that I almost lived with were neighbours for years, Leighton and Jack, who became Uncle Tix and Uncle Jack, just sort of took off in the social media world, which was pretty crazy to see. And we'd have lots of nights, staying up late just chatting about it. And they're like, you should do something. You should make a page. And I wasn't nearly as funny or talented.
Clearly, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm a teacher. We're our own sort of people. That's what we teach. But yeah, like I don't have any of that. So I was always keen to sort of do something because I've been passionate about making things my whole life. Like I love the concept of making videos. I was obsessed with Casey Neistat, if you know who that is, when I was going through university. If you don't know Casey Neistat, he's like the founding father of like vlog videos. So he's like the first person to go on YouTube really and just take videos of his day like off a camera but he did it in a very sort of cinematic way. And I think he did like 500 days or something straight with a daily vlog, like 15 minutes. And yeah, like just crazy talented. So from that, I always wanted to be a filmmaker. But I didn't really have a purpose. I didn't have anything cool to share. I didn't have anything at the time that I thought was worthy. And then in the start of January last year, I went to a place called Te Porere, which is the redoubt or the Māori trenches up near Taupo and past Turangi, where Te Kooti had a massive battle. It's a place I'd been earlier with Mr. Hansen on a field trip. I was just sitting there reflecting by myself. I think it was like probably 5 a.m. Like got up really early to go. I was like, why don't I do a history page? Like history's my biggest passion. I want to learn more. I want to do it so I can be a better teacher for my students. And that's kind of how it came about.
Aotearoa History. Let's go.
Do you envision this page being a resource you'll be able to go to your students? Hey, and by the way, if you want to know more about this, check out my Instagram page and check out video number 605, and it will be right about what we're talking about.
Yeah, man, I'll grab that.
Is it something you perhaps
Thank you.
envision as a good resource for teaching, or is it a side project that it's a completely different audience, and if your students choose to go there, it's not related to your classroom curriculum?
Yeah. A bit of both, I think. A bit of both. One of the main ideas, sorry.
I forgive you, but just this once. Because I can imagine it being an interesting connection to home, because parents, my wife always said for years, I'd love to be a fly on a wall in your classroom, because I'll come home telling it, from the middle of a story, and then they grab the drumstick and they throw it across the room. You're like, what the hell are you doing in the classroom? So I suppose
Thank you.
The parents for the kids you're teaching, them being able to go, oh yeah, this is my kid's teacher.
Yeah,
we can sort of relate to them because we've got this vlog relation. I don't know the words. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
but
no,
they know
100%.
You.
Yeah, it's really cool too because lots of my sort of ex-students follow me now, and lots of their parents and family follow me, which is really cool. One of the reasons as well I made it is I felt that history is not something many people are passionate about. That's one of those things you're either passionate about or you're not. Lots of people just don't care. And I think the way that history in Aotearoa has been taught before is very boring. It's, when you look at resources, until recently, there might have been like a couple 90s documentaries, and what 11 and 12-year-olds are going to relate to those, What, besides people like me. So I wanted to make something that was a bit shorter, So shorter format, like little few-minute videos where they could learn information, because, you know, the attention span of TikTok and social media now is so short. Yeah. And I just, wanted it to be really something that younger people could connect with. As well with someone like, that's not this sort of just history nerd in a suit walking around talking about something, just someone they could hopefully relate to a little bit.
So you don't wear a suit?
Not yet, but one day if this page starts paying me, then I might be wearing a suit.
There you go, kids. That's an incentive.
Exactly.
Pay the man.
Pay me. Please.
Question. So are your videos generally around that 2-minute mark, or like give or take a minute or so?
Yeah. So the sort of structure of my videos normally are like 1 to 2 minutes, and genuinely with some, like, I'll be filming something and I'll do a voiceover. And that's for a few reasons. One, because I'd like my audience to be younger, and I feel like that's the sort of time span that's going to capture their attention more. And also, too, I've just found pretty boring. But, like, with the algorithm, anything longer than that, it doesn't seem to be shared. Like, it doesn't seem to be picked up anyway.
So in that, are you hoping that sort of each video is a tiny drop in the ocean, but it might get someone interested to go and find their own? As in, do you script them in a way that, I'm here in this location, this is what happened here. If you look out your window and see da-da-da, there's a little bit of engagement, video finishes. If you want to know more, do you put out like a branch for them to grab onto? Yes and no. But I think for me it's just more, I don't know, so I just wanted to be really short, really catchy. Like, I work really hard on my voiceovers and the way I word things. And then from that, I'm just hoping, you know, if a couple people from this decide to do some further research on it, how cool is that? You know, I think that one of the coolest parts about my page so far is when people reach out to me and they were like, hey, I've decided to go on this journey learning more about my whakapapa, my family, because of what I see you doing. And, like, for me, it's a really empowering thing.
Aotearoa, New Zealand has a very recent story when you look at colonization. So I guess you can take different perspectives. You can go from a more white Pakeha thing, but you told me something about the Māori heritage. Is that your focus? Do you like to go back to your Māori ancestors and learn about them, or you open? Yeah, I try to take in as much information as I can. The way schooling historically in Aotearoa has worked is you hear this very sort of Pakeha narrative of what happened. And it's always, like when you read the old newspaper articles, no matter what happened in a battle, you know, the British forces were these amazing troops that, you know, they took over these savages and won. But when you start to dig deeper and you actually learn about the actual stories, what happened is a very different narrative. So I'm more interested in that narrative. I want to learn more about, I guess, the unheard story. Because everyone knows these stories about how great, you know, these colonizers were. And I think now that's sort of shifting and people are starting to understand that, no, these people weren't great. You know, these people, you know, they killed, murdered women, children, you know. Are the books reliable? Do you go after the kaumatuas in the iwis? Like, so how, because the research, I guess, is a tricky one. As you guys were saying, it's a history that has been told, you know, like there's not much written documents, right? Yeah, it's a good question. Definitely try to go to kaumatuas when I can. Like there's some incredible ones that have helped me. Like a guy, Brad Totowera, who works at Rangariri. Shout out, Brad. Yeah, he's so cool. Honey's brother, yeah. Yeah, he's a legend. So I've learned lots from him. He's come into our school lots and done lots of PDs for us, which is cool. Tom Roa, who works at the University of Waikato. He's an incredible historian. I've learned lots from him as well. And for me, I read as much as I can. You know, I take in as much information as I can. And you can kind of, from these different pieces, you kind of, I guess, merge to that sort of a response that kind of works with all of them. Yeah. If that makes sense. How's your te reo learning? So you're reading Māori histories written by Māori in the English editions? Yeah, mainly. I'm actually on a journey to learn te reo Māori at the moment. Congratulations. Yeah. Wait, are you still like on the land, or are you boarding the boat? Where are you in this journey? How far are you into it? I'd say I've boarded the boat. Nice. Yeah, a long way to go, but I mean, I'm trying to spend an hour a day if I can learning. I'm going to try to sign up for some courses as well. But yeah, it's something I'm definitely really keen to do. I just went out and purchased lots of
Hemi Kelly's books, who's an absolute legend. Shout out Hemi.
Kelly.
Yeah. So yeah, bit by bit I'm learning, but I find language quite a hard thing to pick up, so I really have to work hard on it. Yeah, trying to use it more.
I tried for years. It was very difficult. I just came up with an idea in my head for one of your classes, just as an activity. Send them 5 of your New Zealand history little videos, but have one of them being completely made up.
Yeah,
And,
I like that.
and film it, record it exactly as the most authentic as you can portray it.
Yeah.
And then say, hey, one of these videos is completely fake. I want you to get in teams of 3 and find your way to which one is completely made up.
That would be cool.
There you go.
Because that
I like
would
that
get
idea.
them delving in.
And you didn't need ChatGPT to come up with that idea.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, just basic intelligent.
There you go. Rare
yeah.
nowadays.
That's a great
Because that'd
idea.
be so much fun. And then, every year, swap out, one of them and put together another fake one. All right, kids.
That would be pretty fun. I like that idea. I'll have to do it.
Before we started the show, you were telling us about your, am I saying it right, tiki?
Yeah.
Tikis?
Yes, I've got 2 tiki here, 2 hey tikis.
So for the people listening to our show that cannot see your beautiful tikis, can you describe them for us and tell us a little bit more about them?
Yeah, so hey tiki is, I guess, a representation of an ancestor. So some people think they embody like encompass the first man. So I've got 2 here. So it's how would you describe it? It's sort of two men, but in a very sort of moldy style, art style. So yeah, I've got 2. I've got a big one down the bottom, which is whalebone, which came from my great grandfather's whalebone, and then the one on the top. This is great for the listener. The one on the top is one of 3 known existence. This one's made out of moa bone.
Whoa.
Yes, I've got a moa tiki and a whalebone tiki.
So for those listening, the whalebone tiki is probably 5 inches by 3 inches, beautifully carved, woven with a sort of hand-woven string. The second tiki comes in over the top at about 3 inches and 1.5 inches, a bit darker in colour, sort of a bit more caramelised there, and that's the moa.
Yeah, and if you look at the back, you can sort of see how old it is.
Oh, wow. You sort of look
Yeah.
through the marrow there.
Yes, which is pretty crazy. So both of these were carved by Alex Sands, who's a carver from Waikato, and he's so incredibly talented. Yeah, so the story for the whalebone one was in our whānau, we had this box of whalebone uncarved. So my great-grandfather was a carver. He carved lots of my marae in quite a few places, St. Faith's Church in Aotearoa. So when he passed away, he left us a box of unfinished whalebone, which sat in our sort of tool shed for probably 40 years, just collecting dust. And then when I started on this journey, I decided, we should do something with it. Like, what's the point in having all this bone if it's not used for anything? So I contacted Sands Carving Studios, and yeah, Alex was incredibly generous and carved all of these pieces for our whānau. So there's a few tiki, there's lots of other stuff as well, which is pretty wild. So this one's a pretty hearty one. Like, you don't get many tiki this big.
It's massive. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's very heavy, but and it's still quite smelly as well. When you carve bone, it's pretty smelly, which is
For those listening out there, you can now imagine it.
yeah.
Man, can you give us a little bit of the context of the bone and how Māori would make use of those resources?
Yep. So I don't know too much. I know that lots of tiki came from, I think, what was the tool called? Like an adze, the sort of like the stone tool they'd make to like chop down trees and stuff. So a korero I heard is when like the end of them would chip and they were no longer useful. They weren't sharp enough to chop down trees or whatever. Those bits of stone or whatever would get transformed into tikis. So that was kind of how it started. And then I think mainly they were sort of like almost a status thing in honouring their ancestors, so they represent someone to the people. So yeah, I've got this whalebone one and then this smaller bone one. And the smell was pretty cool. It was found near Dunedin in Cannibal Bay. So it was part of this carver's collection and he traded it with Alex. But yeah, so this one's pretty special. There's only 3 known existence out of moa bone. Because the last moa died, I think, 600 years ago, around about. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. it's a real honour to be able to wear these pieces, to be fair.
Did you need to have some form of blessing or ceremony to be able to wear it with the sacredness, I suppose, that it sort of brings with it?
Yep, so you can get them blessed. There's something that changes iwi to iwi. Some people think you need to. I was talking to my friend about this quite a lot, and he said the blessing's quite something that came a bit later. Originally, it was to thank, I think it was Tangaroa, the god of the ocean, because, lots of pounamu comes from the water, so it came from that sort of thing. And then it became a more sort of formal blessing when the Europeans arrived and brought religion in. So they changed quite a lot. But originally, it wasn't like a sort of big formal thing. It was just sort of acknowledging the Māori gods. But yeah, so...
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Do you wear them as the teacher?
I'm very lucky to have quite a lot of tonga or treasures. So I'm always wearing one of them. And normally with a smaller tiki or my greenstone, and then this big one comes out for more special occasions because it's quite hefty. It's quite a weight around the neck.
It is striking. If you are listening to the audio version, it may pay to pop over to Facebook or onto the website, YouTube with altbays.nz, just to check it out because it is something quite special.
I know that I think there's no bad or wrong questions, and when I talk to a lot of Pakeha, a lot of Kiwis, white Kiwis who watch our shows, they say it's cool to watch your shows because I learn things that I should know. And then I say, well, I don't think you should know, but it's nice that we are providing something that you're taking something out of it. So what's up with the tiki? Like, what's up with this symbology? I don't know if it's the right term to say, but like we see the tiki everywhere in Aotearoa. Do you guys know a little bit about the representation itself of tiki?
Yeah.
Pass.
Again, I don't know too much apart from the fact that I think it was meant to represent an ancestor, someone significant to the person. Again, in some thing, it was like the sort of first man.
First man, okay.
Yeah.
Can I throw this right back at Mr. from Brazil here? Is there a first native Brazilian people's symbology necklace, something that you're aware of that say the original peoples of Brazil would have, versus is there a Portuguese equivalent of wearing of family heirlooms on the person?
Do you know, Taylor?
Sorry, Taylor's on TikTok at the moment.
He's the historian. He's
just on my page.
The Brazilian.
No, in Brazil, people use a lot of feathers.
It's more. I thought about the feathers.
Even the carnival, when people see the women with the feathers and dancing, that was mainly indigenous things that they mixed with the European carnival. But I know that it's bracelets. They paint their faces depending of who you are, the kind of pigment you put, but I'm not that deep on it, man.
And the thing with the piercing, so obviously not the word piercings, but like those ones that you put in your lip, like so a lot of the indigenous, they would have very stretched lips with the wood thing.
So I know that depending of how stretched it is, it has an hierarchy of it, but I don't know how deep of it. Yeah.
And just on that feather thing, before you go and click that little button off, so if you see someone in a particular context back in Brazil and you see a certain number or type or length or age of feather, does that communicate something? Or they've got their feathers handed to them from an ancestor in their line and so they're wearing their grandmother's feathers. Is that type of thing?
I think it depends of the tribe. Brazil is super big, man. So if you go to the north, Amazon, that's going to be completely different customs than the people from the south. I know that they were kind of connect in a way, but there was a lot of fights between them as well. So when you say about that, it's hard to tell because it's different. Yeah.
And can I poke you one more time? I know your grandmother does a lot of herbal medicines. She kept the herbal tradition for healing and growing and planting. Does your family have a particular item that you've kept as a family heirloom?
What people keep normally is like vases with plants and herbs. So like my grandmother died, so my mom is in charge of all the herbs. And I know that before my grandmother was gone, she was making sure that people knew what was each plant was for.
From her mother or her family?
For my grandmother garden, yeah. They normally keep in vases And then if you're having a belly bug or something, she was like, oh, that's the one, and make a tea for you or a paste or something like that. Yeah.
That classic old school knowledge of knowing.
That's so cool, eh?
I love it. I love that link of going through things.
Yeah.
I mean, sort of the history of sort of the Pākehā ancestry, because I've got, Scottish, English, a lot of Irish, and there would be medals from war. Those are sort of family limbs. You get portraits and photos, and I suppose before that would be the hand-drawn things. And, that's something that's sort of passed on from family to family. I have my grandfather's binoculars.
That's cool.
Which give you 1.4 zoom. Which is not much when you're getting
It's
it.
crazy.
Yeah, I think they're snakeskin. And I was given them when he passed away. I sort of received this. Ironically, I received binoculars. Everyone that knows me well, and Mum should have known this. Love you, Mum. I only use one eye at a time. So I can't use binoculars. But they look cool. My son loves playing with them, and he's roughed them up already, and they're missing leather.
Yeah, I mean, as long as they look cool, I suppose.
Yeah.
The zoom wouldn't do much anyway, would it, at 1.4?
1.4 is really great if you're really close to something and want to see slightly closer.
Yeah.
It's not a very deep comment, is it? No.
I mean, it's way less than my Nokia cell phone in 2011, but...
Hey, Nokia cell phones were amazing.
Yeah, bring them back. They need to have a resurgence, I think. They
Bring
need
back
a new
the
flagship.
2280.
Yeah.
Bring back Snake.
100%. What a game.
We have obviously, because now, Altbays, man, is growing. We got so many people watching.
Calm
us, which
yourself,
is pretty
man.
Cool.
Calm
I'm
yourself.
sorry.
Put down the hat on.
Sure, has deep story. Yes, true. Afitia Mamaku, thank you so much. SH1 was our road walking track from north to south.
Yep.
State Highway 1 was our north to south.
Have you seen the new words kids are not allowed to say at school?
No, I haven't.
No.
I haven't.
Can you let us know? Yeah.
Words
if
kids
you
are not allowed to
could,
use it.
we're here with
New
you.
ones.
So, yeah.
Okay, I like that.
And
I'm intrigued.
Beats HK, blessings, Altbays, shout out, choo choo choo. This podcast is like Paulo Freire HQ. Haha, nice to see this live. Wow, what a compliment. Do you guys know Paulo Freire?
Nope.
Paulo Freire was one of the biggest Brazilian educators. And
really?
a lot of the schools around the world, they take his method as a thing. And the thing that he would say a lot was teachers should go to school prepared and knowing that kids know things that they don't know. Like to drop the ego, to understand that it's reciprocal, it's going both ways. It's not you holding the knowledge. There's something that you don't know that these kids know. And one of his biggest books is the pedagogy of the oppressed, which is a very interesting book that explains that power trip kind of thing, how systems will oppress you, and you got to be careful that as you gain knowledge, because knowledge is power, as we all know, that you don't become the oppressor as well. You have to use your power to actually become more embracing, like not twist it.
Cersei Lannister from Game of Thrones rejects the argument that knowledge is power. I believe when the creepy little guy called Littlefinger, which I don't know how he got that name, he said knowledge is power. And she said, think of it, Bobby, kill him. And then she said, wait, I've changed my mind. And then she looked at him and said, knowledge isn't power. Power is power. And I thought, that was really deep, because I thought, geez, that probably did happen when you could just say execute someone.
That was very true for the time.
Yeah. And the time that Game of Thrones is a historically accurate document.
Yeah.
And our last one here, I think there's foreigner interception in the legislations that has caused education change in New Zealand. There you go. So thank you so much for all the people who are watching, engaging, commenting. We really appreciate all the comments.
And if you do come up with those New Zealand classroom banned words, that'd be great to find out.
Yeah, I'm very interested.
Like new ones.
Yeah, I don't know what they could be, but...
You're not allowed to call anyone a dickhead. That's been for
let
years.
us know if the words come up.
Yeah, strange. I don't know what words they could be.
I mean, if dickhead's on the list, like this is old news. Someone's raking up like a 2012 Facebook post or something. That's been done.
I mean, to be fair, with some of the stuff they think we already don't do in teaching, like teaching an hour of reading, writing, maths, Maybe they think we allow those words at the moment. Who knows?
Something you said about, so that podcast education man was Paulo Freire. So that idea of, come to the classroom knowing that the students know things you don't know, that's fascinating because in my early days of teaching, this was revolutionary stuff in New Zealand. And, that's 2014 I was learning that as, hot off the press, kids know things. You're saying it's been known before that. Paulo Freire.
What a genius. And it's very much how we teach now, which is cool, Lots of student-led stuff and, students leading their learning. It's a pretty cool concept. I learn stuff from my students every single day. I'm a way smarter person from being a teacher just from learning from the kids than I ever was before.
Because I believe that there's a method to things, right? So learning how to learn, it's powerful. This could be something more implemented. It's the same thing with paying attention. What do you mean by paying attention? What does it mean to a child that has no idea of it? Can you give me examples? Can you give me tools? Can you say, if you breathe slowly, or if you calm down, or if you stretch, if we go for a walk, get some sun, and then you come back, there you go. For me, that's an example of paying attention effectively. But when you just say it, the kid might be like, what? And I've done that so many times with
sharpen up.
Yeah. What do you mean? It's the same with the drumming, because I've been playing for years. To show a kid something that it's basic to me, and watching them fail, I'm like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, no, wait.
Tighten up.
I have to go back and realize, wait, I know this. They have no coordination skills. They don't know what I'm talking about. Yeah. How am I going to reverse that and bring the problem to myself and say, my delivery has to be good here. So I guess good teachers are on that bracket, right? Of you explain the concepts, how you're going to learn, and you allow them to go and seek information. That's why people talk about AI, technology. Man, it's a tool. If you teach them how to use that, they will thrive. But we got to know first as well, right? Fabian looks at me
I
hate ChatGPT. I hate ChatGPT.
There are some really good parts of what you said, but I don't.
I finished with the AI and I lost you.
I just don't know. Tell kids how to use ChatGPT really, really effectively.
It's hard to ask good questions,
but that's what I mean. I'm yet to understand how to use it effectively for the purpose of an exact career path that would give someone life benefits of food, money, or food, water, and life satisfaction. I don't know how to teach people how to use ChatGPT in order to benefit them to live a life where they can play softball at the park and go out to restaurants once a week. I don't think anyone knows that.
Lachie,
so,
what do you think?
There you go.
Let's go. Throw it to the guest.
Your goal. How do you use AI to enhance your life and future prospects? Listen up, sharpen up, go.
You know what's interesting? Last year, our school had some PD learning how to use ChatGPT.
Magri.
We had someone come in to teach us how to use it.
This is cool as well.
And which you're going to hate.
No, I want to know if that guy ChatGPT'd how to use ChatGPT effectively for that event.
Well, that's an interesting point. It's a hard one, but I think the technology's here. It's going to stay around. There's no going back and getting rid of it now. So what steps can we do to use it effectively and help us? And how can we do it in an accurate way? There needs to be way more learning before it's an effective thing. But same with all AI. I don't think AI is going to go anywhere anytime soon. So we just got to find better ways to use it and use it effectively.
I am going to put my 50 cents down. You ready for it?
Yeah,
I am ready.
I'm excited.
End of the world.
Student-led learning
and
student self-led program-based sort of learning and AI integrated into your learning should only come in year 12. I'm planting that seed there, putting it there, simply that you've had all the times to get the foundations of whatever base knowledge you need to generally know things of. For example, people that do coding and graphics and whatnot using technologies can then go to ChatGPT for help because they have all that base knowledge to know what to ask and how to apply it in a system that they already work in.
Yeah.
But I don't think we should teach kids coding with ChatGPT or rely on it from when they're 7 because they have no idea of the applications, the future of it and how to grow and evolve it. Anyway, I think there's a response to something from a bit earlier. What do you got for us, bro?
I got another comment from Beats HQ who says, beautiful. Yes, I brought up the idea of this because even though I'm registered and ready to teach in a secondary school in New Zealand, I'm not going to teach until they invest more of our national budget into education and especially sonic arts. If they let students do computer music in school, it will help them to do well across the board. Ha! If you use Google Board, you can get Bard, B-A-R-D. Google Bard, you can get Bard to learn how there must be like a similar AI thing. You learn, then you get to learn, and then it actually makes you want to learn instead of cheat. Google has an awesome app called Socratic. The app is certainly an interesting one because yes, as you guys are all saying, AI is here to stay. Most of the naysayers are power ego trippers who are making AI have a bad perception. Also, year 12 is nice for ChatGPT. Socratic Google Learning AI app can be used before year 12. And that's the thing. Thank you, by the way.
Just on that, your
right.
teacher registration will expire in 3 years, and you cannot get it renewed if you haven't maintained those standards of practice and enough
What is
hours.
the requirement for that? It's hours.
There's a certain number of hours and being assessed against those 6, which was 12, I think. But
Are
those
you
6
keeping yours up
standards.
to date?
Yep.
So you're relieving?
So
or?
I relieve once in a while. I'm starting teaching my own business, but I won't plug that here yet until I've got something to advertise.
I'm looking forward to checking that out.
But yeah, so just feel free to take your political stance, you own it, you own that sonic arts, and that's lovely, but just make sure you keep up to date with your registration standards so that you can enter the workforce at the right time for you.
There you go.
Yeah, good advice.
PSA.
Are there
I like
other
that.
are there other things that you want to do, bro? Like I know you love the teaching, I know you love the content creation. Do you see that expanding to other areas?
Yeah, well, I've always had a few different goals. I don't know where those goals are at the moment. Originally, I wanted to be a history teacher at high school, which isn't a great surprise. But I graduated university when I was 20. I just thought, I can't go and be a history teacher at a high school when I'm 2 years older than the students. For me, that just doesn't make sense. So I've kind of got that in mind. I'd love to do that later in life, maybe when I get into my 30s, move into secondary teaching. But I'd also like to see what I can do with this page and how I can grow it as well. I'd love to do more stuff, learn about Aotearoa history. I'd love to do like a TV show or something one day. That'd be so epic, just because I feel like there's so many people like me out there that would love to learn more, but they just feel it's not accessible. It's not taught or shown in a way that connects with younger people so I'd love to do something along those lines at some point.
You know what's cool what you're saying? People connect with people. Right? That goes without saying. That's why social media is massive. That's why everyone is like, we're actually looking at people on our phones. And that's the irony of it. Like you're not looking at the person in front of you, but you're looking at people on your phone. One cool thing that you did by taking Lethan to that little trip that you guys did.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure a lot of people were watching that because of him, because of his online presence. So something with content creators, it will be very attractive to people, right? If you can connect your history thing with cool people who are already doing cool things online, you might get young people hooked.
100%. Because, like, as you said, there's people like Leighton, Uncle Tix, if you don't know who we're talking about. Like, there's so many incredible people like that people connect to. And, just because they're there, they might want to learn more. And I think that's what's more attractive about it. Instead of having, like, this old historian in there, 60s or 70s walking around and telling you what happened, actually having young people with a bit of influence sharing what they're learning, not necessarily the historians, but going to those historians and learning from them and going through their own journey, I think would be quite interesting and a good way to connect. But
another cool one that I saw on your channel was the bro from Alien Weaponry. What a guy. He's an amazing bass player.
He's a man. He's so cool.
Right? And thirsty for knowledge.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's when you hook people up. The person you admire likes that thing.
Yeah.
So you want, like it's like knowing the bands that influenced your favorite bands.
Yeah.
You want to check them out. Like who are these people that made my idols who they are?
Yeah.
And that's a cool thing, right?
He's so cool. I was lucky enough to talk to him earlier this year, and I've spent a bit of time with him. I can't believe he's younger than me. Like, that man he knows everything. He speaks so well. He's such an amazing person. we had a pretty cool experience a couple months ago. We were invited to Sans Carving Studios, the ones that did this, and they taught me and two at the same time how to carve a pounamu.
Wow.
So we got to go in the studio and choose our pounamu, our greenstone to carve, and make it into a pendant for someone. So yeah, it was pretty crazy experience to share with him. So we're both learning on the. Yeah, it was hard, but we had some incredible people teaching us, and we did the most basic of things.
So you start with a nice sort of large piece of pounamu, and after every mistake you made, here you go, darling. It's a nice little sweet little
Honestly,
thing.
yeah. It was. To be fair, I was because I'm not very handy. I was pretty nervous using all these like, power tools, but they were very gentle. Like most of the sanders and grinders you can touch with your hands and they won't cut you. I've got a little dent in my nail, but besides that, but yeah, it was incredible. Like Carl and Crystal, the whole team there, Alex, they're so incredible. They spent ages just teaching us, and yeah, I got to make a beautiful piece for again my beautiful friend Jesse O'Brien we talked about earlier, which was incredible for me. And also because my great-grandfather was a carver, as I said earlier. So for me, having that connection and thinking, this is what he did. Obviously, I had the luxury of having all these amazing power tools, and he actually had to grind away. But yeah, it was a very cool experience, and yeah, the most amazing team in the world. So make sure you check out Sans Carving Studios. Give them a plug because they're shout out. They're amazing, lovely people. But yeah, that was pretty cool. And so. They came from the 2 chat, yeah. So I did that with 2, which was amazing. And yeah, he's such a lovely guy. And yeah, the way he talks about history and shares it on his platform, yeah, love it. He's yeah, great man. Do you know Alien Weaponry?
No, I don't.
I have to check them out for your station. They're pretty.
They're
pretty cool.
You love them, yeah. So heavy metal, right? So we can
we can roll that off CFM right off the bat. But yeah, fair enough.
They sing in te reo. It's beautiful. They're massive overseas, and that's the coolest thing.
Yeah,
right?
they're way bigger overseas, eh? Like, I think they're huge in places like Germany, and like they're selling out festivals over there and stuff. Like they're huge. So yeah, just a heavy metal band, but all in te reo Māori, and it's pretty cool. It's real tough,
and it's polished. Like
it's
nice.
proper good.
Yeah.
I just realised in my head that you post little short snippets of these conversations on social media. Yeah. And I just realised some of the comments I've made tonight going, oh, shite. That's going to be in one of those clips, isn't it?
One of your clips is doing very good on TikTok. Last time I saw it, I think like 6,000.
You're everywhere, man.
16,000 views or something. The one that beautiful explanation, by the way. You're very good when you explain the name of Miranda.
With Pukora Miranda.
Pukora Miranda. So we made a clip out of that, and so many people are saying thank you to you. Thank you. Who is he? I don't know. I didn't know about that part of history in New Zealand. As we were saying, a lot of people have no clue about their neighborhoods.
See, social media can be a good thing, Yeah. Lots of good human connection on there. It's the highest I've ever heard.
I got the big benefit out of that by actually I spoke to the person in charge of running the treasury for that iwi and finding out directly the story that he's collated over decades working with him. And I was just thinking before about this video could be useful for many people, and the clips and the reels and the snippets, whatever they're called, can be helpful. But I've not followed any of those people, and yet being in the room with you, Lachie, is pretty cool. I'm hearing some cool things. So I think the in-room human connection outside of AI and screens, for me, I'm a little bit old school. I may have a mic and some headphones on, but this is the engaging, interesting bit for me. I don't believe I'm on my phone looking at people.
Yeah, it's good.
For me, that's not. I'll look at my shares. I will listen to a podcast or an audiobook, just the audio version, while I'm gardening or driving somewhere. But I'm not looking at a human imagining my life like theirs.
People who can see you think you're like 54A. Like,
if you're listening right now, I'll be celebrating my 60th next June.
Social media is definitely a blessing and a curse, though.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Like, it's often you get so obsessed with what's in front of you, you actually miss what's happening in the real world. And I agree, there's human connections and conversations.
Like people who get hit by cars and buses.
Yeah,
exactly. they really miss the real world.
Exactly. But these like conversations are powerful. But at the same time, I wouldn't be having this conversation with you without my social media. So it's like, it's a real blessing and a curse. And I think it's just, for me, it's about finding a balance. And that's not for everyone. Right. And yes, I mean, it can be a healthy place, it can be a negative place.
But that's the cool thing, especially when we started the podcast, a lot of the guests, they they didn't understand what we were doing, but they were happy to join. They were happy to come as a guest and to have a chat. And I was telling them, I'm like, even though you're not part of the social media world, are you okay with us putting it out there? And they were like, yeah, it's fine. So it's kind of similar with what you're saying. Like, you said something beautiful. You're just speaking your truth, you know, like trying to be something that you're not. You're just saying things that you think are right. And they are valuable for a lot of people. And if it was not for the social media or for the radio station, maybe people wouldn't have access to that. So it's just a different way of...
I'm going to go on Facebook and abuse you for saying that to me.
You can.
Yeah.
It's a compliment. Make a clip, put it on CFM page, and tag me. Tag is important.
Actually, for work, I was asked to make reels. And so I thought that was a video. So I tried posting videos for work. And I was told like 2 weeks later that you did it in the wrong place. Your videos didn't work as reels. And so you sort of failed in that thing that was really awkward for me to do.
So I don't even know. I don't know what that is.
I just posted a video, but apparently you have to click reels or something to make a video that's a reel.
Do I have reels in? I don't know if I've got reels.
The reel will go to people that not follow you.
I thought the reel was just automatic when you posted it.
You can make a reel and choose to post it as a post, but not the opposite. If you make a post, it won't go as a reel. On Instagram, we're talking about Instagram, right? So
I thought it was like a certain length. It had to become a reel.
you
I thought if it was like open for a minute, it was a reel because it was too long to be a normal one.
And if you're watching this clip live, you can feel free to log off now.
Well, the way that we do it, we post them as reels, and you can have the option of putting on your grid.
Okay.
So that's on that first page, which means that your followers will see. But as a reel, it will also reach
some kind of content creator I am. I've got no idea.
There you go.
I'm with you on this one.
But again,
it's all
good to know.
We're learning. Yeah. We're always learning. Any changes as well? Yeah, we'll have a look. But I feel like yours. I think yours are. I feel like you.
If it is,
you
it's a
have reels,
complete fluke, which is amazing.
I think you guys are fine, bro. Tell me more about Tamaiti.
Yeah, Tamaiti. What a legend. So Tamaiti is. If you don't know who Tamaiti is, he's I guess a very sort of high up Māori elder in Aotearoa of Tūhoe descent. Tūhoe is an iwi in the Uruweras. Yeah, he's an artist and activist. He became famous. When would he have been famous? You reckon it would have been around when he got arrested, or was he famous because this was all before my time, really?
Oh, it's before my time. He's the flag ripper, isn't he? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think in 2007 he was doing some stuff as well. I think he shot the flag and like did some pretty hearty stuff. But in 2009, he was arrested. I think they thought he was a terrorist running a sort of like a
terrorist cell.
Yeah, like a terrorist camp in the Uruweras and something like. But he's just the most incredible man. Like the amount of money he has.
They've released a film about this recently, haven't they?
Yeah,
like last year I think.
Mudu. Yeah, it's got Cliff Curtis in. So
he's a good-looking man. So yeah,
he's amazing. Shout out one of my followers now. Shout out, thanks Cliff. But yeah, so after all of this happened, I think there has been an official apology to the Tūhoe people for the raid. So it was a sort of, I think it was a pretty horrendous misuse of power from the police back then. But yeah, Tamaiti's always been this activist and this person that stands up for what he believes, which I really admire. And I remember when I was in high school, we watched this TED Talk about mana and the power of mana, like what it is to have mana. And from then on, I was just like obsessed with him. I was like, this guy's the coolest person ever. And he does some of the most beautiful artwork. So earlier, a couple months ago, I went to Whakatane. He had a show there, like this incredible artistic performance. So me and my mate drove out and watched it. And after that, I reached out to him. I was like, "Oh, like, would you be okay to catch up? Like, I'd love to talk to you." I'd video called him before, a few months earlier to that, and we'd had a good chat. And yeah, he invited me out to Whakatane to meet with him. And we just had a shared korero. He painted me this beautiful picture, and yeah, it's just one of the coolest experiences of my life. Just yeah, I love that man. He's so cool.
So you've signed up to his next terracell? Oh, you're saying there wasn't one?
No, there wasn't one.
Sorry. Oh, nice. But you're in this inner circle. There's no hidden code or message in the artwork.
I mean, if there is, I haven't been told. But no, he's just incredible. Like just his knowledge, his mana, like his knowledge of his people and what's important to him is incredible. I really admire it. Just for me, like tamaiti is like the sort of quintessential, like what it means to be Māori. Like he's so proud of who he is, and yeah, he's so deeply proud of his heritage, and he spent his whole life fighting for what he thinks right. Like there's photos of him before he was well known, you know, protesting the Springbok tour, and then like all the way through his life he's been this activist. You know, lots of his artwork's based off the I will not speak Māori. He's got lots of artwork that just states I will not speak Māori, just lines of that, which goes back to when he was at high school when he was forced to speak English, and there was this punishment. He ever got I think the cane word to write 100 times I will not speak Māori on the chalkboard. So just a living legend. Very, very grateful to have met him.
That's pretty amazing. What was the slogan on the badges for the, like, stop the tour or something for the Springbok tour?
What was it?
Because my father wore that, and when my mum brought Dad home to Kevin and beautiful Joan. My granddad took one look at Dad wearing that badge, and they were there for like an hour, and then they left. And he said, "Never bring him back to my house ever again." It's just like stopping the rugby, because my granddad was of a certain generation, but also rugby was a religion as well as him being a Catholic. So stopping the rugby tour was just a no.
Yeah,
but yeah, those badges in history. Basically, what I'm saying is my dad and Tamiti were probably bros.
I like that. Yeah, I watched a good documentary recently about the Springbok tour, and like the group of rugby players that went and did like a private tour, like lots of sort of the famous All Blacks. I think it was 1986, just before the first World Cup we had here, and they went over to South Africa during the this big apartheid time, and there was lots of protests. And I think lots of those players didn't make the World Cup team because they went on that protest, and that was why David Kirk became our captain for that World Cup, because he was one of the ones that stayed back. So. Yeah, it's a little sidetrack, but it was a good documentary.
Lovely bit of history. I think you need to. Have you made a little video on that?
I haven't yet.
There you go.
There's a great documentary though, but I could. But yeah.
No, I want to see your version. It's 2 minutes. It'll be better.
Yeah, it'll be snappy.
What are the happenings, the moments in Aotearoa, New Zealand that you really enjoy reading about and learning about?
I love learning all about the land wars, or Waikato wars especially, because obviously being from Kirikiriroa, Hamilton, it's all around where I am, so all of this stuff is, 10-15 minute drive from where I live. So I love that sort of history because I can really connect to it, and I can go to the sites. So I've spent a lot of time researching that history, but at the moment I'm trying to learn, go a bit deep, before colonization, before the Europeans arrived, and learn more about that history and the tikanga, and I'm pretty new into that sort of reading, but I'm really enjoying that as well. Yeah, I just want to learn as much as I can, really.
Is there anything? Sorry, do you want to?
No, I was just going to say I'd love to see, and I'd love to have Lachie back in 18 months and see that installment of the journey.
Yeah,
the page being established that long. How many more stories? How many more great connections to your Māori you've managed to make and build into yourself?
Yeah, it would be
interesting.
Yeah, who knows where the next year's going to go? So I was thinking the other day, I'm so new into this page, doing it is a more serious thing. And all of these, so many of these things I never thought would happen in my life have already happened. It's where do I go next, I've hung out with Tamiti, I've talked to two from Alien Weaponry,
Cliff Curtis is following you.
Yeah, Marama Davidson I've interviewed, there's all these amazing people. Bik Kurunga followed me the other day. That was a personal highlight because I love Bik Kurunga. She's
incredible songwriter.
Honestly, just the soundtrack of my childhood and life.
And she's fighting the rights for those that APRA. She makes sure royalties go to the right place for music makers.
Is she?
She's on the panel.
Yeah, shout out Bik. She's incredible. I saw her live last year in Tauranga, and she was so good. Yeah, just incredible musician. So.
Do you rock up to these people and you introduce yourself and you say, or you find ways? Because that's always a tricky one, isn't it?
Nah.
It's hard, isn't it?
Not really.
I feel like it's the great moments. It's probably the best moments if you get it on the right foot. But there's something about coming to people and saying. Yeah,
100%. I think New Zealanders as a culture, we're very awkward people. You're kind of like, oh, hey, I'm Lachie. Hey, nice to meet you. And they're just... go away,
That's because they spend too much time online. They need to get the social stuff happening. Get off your phones.
Take Fabian with you.
I feel like
I'll look right up. Hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
I'm Fabian. Who are you?
He's actually pretty good. He's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Knowing full well who it is.
Well, it's like today I sort of got here going, look, I don't research. Who are you? What do you do? And I found out so many great things about you. Yeah. And this was face to face.
Thank you.
Sure, we're, a table away from each other, sweating up a storm here on the leather chairs.
Yeah.
I know, right?
The show gets more and more glistening and glistening. It's like
It's hot.
it's sweaty.
It is, yeah. It's nice in here. It's warm. It's kind of like a little sauna.
Just as an aside, Hot in Here by Nelly was a song I performed last year at the karaoke competition.
Really?
Shout out Smitty Sports Bar in Vegas. And I learnt all the words to Nelly, and I dressed up as Nelly, had the little tape in my face. I say this because I love to know, Lachie, what's your karaoke song? If you're up on stage, you've had a couple of drinks, so you've been well lubricated socially, and you've been whetted, what are you going to get up on stage and rock?
That's a great question. I mean, it depends how many strawberry milkshakes I've had before, I suppose. If it's
Three.
If it's three, I'm probably quite upbeat. So I might go like a Danny California by the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Nice.
So
That's a banger.
yeah, it's an absolute banger. I'd ruin it for everyone's
How many strawberry milkshakes are you in right now?
Oh, I think this is number 3.
It's
So
time
you go,
for Danny
it's time for
California.
Danny.
Once we finish it. But I think maybe if we got 5 or 6, if we're getting a bit sort of deeper into the night, then I go to like a classic, maybe Don't Dream It's Over.
Hey now.
Hey now.
See what I
Hey
did there?
now. Yeah, see? So it depends on the stage of the night, it depends who I'm with. But I'm a horrendous singer, so.
I think we need some mood lighting if we're going to do this. Taylor.
I'm quite disappointed that the stage that was pointed out to me earlier still isn't clear. I could have done
man, I'm sorry, bro.
I could have done a performance,
It's
but
a work in progress.
it'll have to be next time I come in.
There's a story about the Hey Now song. I hope it translates well. It might not, but fuck it. It's our podcast. We can do whatever. That song was massive in Brazil, obviously. It was massive around the world. I never knew it was a Kiwi song. But we had a friend called Reinaldo, like Reinaldo. And in Portuguese, we would say Reinaldo.
Yeah.
And one of my mates, we used to have a punk, like hardcore group. He would come to him like in the middle of the class and he would say, hey Nald, just to annoy him but we would never know what the song was actually saying. Like we have this
That's
thing.
a great story.
And that was it. That was the thing, like always trying to play with the words. That's
I
why,
love that.
That's why big bands love touring in South America, because we sing the riffs, we sing the solos.
You
of
guys
the
are
song.
incredible.
Because sometimes you have no clue what's going on, but you got the and then you sing all the parts as it was one big thing.
Is that because do you not have as many big local bands?
No, we do have massive bands, but I think it's just like a massive population, and the culture, it's passionate about music.
I love that. Because I can't imagine us doing that here, right? Like, if there was a band from overseas that spoke in a different language, I can't imagine just thousands of people packing out singing the songs in a different language.
I am trying to picture songs in non-Māori, non-English that I can actually name. Bands from around the world.
Despacito from Justin Bieber would have been our biggest one that would have got some singers, but overall, I don't.
Is that the one that you said?
Yeah.
He made a version of that, yeah. And La Bamba, I'm sure you know La Bamba.
But yeah,
La la bamba.
That's what we do with all the English songs. La 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 la. Yeah.
I wonder if that's just a cultural thing. Because we don't really. I don't know.
Macarena.
Hey, Macarena.
All right. There's
Got
no
a good
much
story
secret.
Got a good story about the Macarena.
Here we go.
So recently, a few of my beautiful colleagues and I took a group of students to Samoa, November last year. So we took 30 students, Jesse being one of them, and my great friend Natalie and Kate. And we were in Samoa. They've got these incredible wooden buses. So we're getting taken with all the students around the island to our next accommodation, and they started playing Macarena, and we were so fizzed up. The teachers were singing, the kids were singing, and it was Tiger's version. I don't know if you've heard Tiger's version. It is not kid friendly. It is horrendous. It is horrendous. I mean, search the lyrics if you haven't heard it. It is probably the most unchild friendly song you'll ever hear.
Well, I suppose the original has that sort of the girl in it talking about my boyfriend's away, so I'll take his best friend.
Yeah.
Oh, honestly, you should show the lyrics. It is horrendous. And I think because the bus driver obviously saw how excited we were the first time we heard the Macarena, so this song became on repeat over and over again. And you know, I think there's a line about witches on their stick. Which is definitely not witches. And like just these lines, and like all the kids at first were traumatized when they heard the words, and by the end we've got like 30 students just singing the song at the top of their lungs. Yeah, no good. But yeah, one of my fondest memories from teaching so far.
Those are the memories that like those kids will never forget that.
Oh, when we got back from Samoa, my students were asking all the time, so we got the speaker system on the court where we play songs at morning tea at lunch. All the Samoa kids were like, can we play this song? Like,
no.
Don't tell people about the song.
What happens on Samoa camp stays on Samoa camp.
Yeah, it's like, and it's such a hard thing as well because, you know, you're in a different country, it's different sort of customs. Like you don't feel right just like telling the person like, hey, can we listen to a different song here? You know what I mean? Like, it was kind of awkward, and their English was quite limited as well. So we just kind of embraced it. But it was great memories.
From Facebook to YouTube, because we're everywhere, Mr. Roberts.
You are everywhere.
We are everywhere. So, Taiwufu, Stormhawk, kia ora, bro. Oh, Lachie, I fairly recently found you on Insta. I learned more from you about New Zealand history than during school. Admittedly, I left in year 6 though. Oh, man. Shout out, bro. Thank you so much.
Type and use a computer, so year 6 was all he needed.
Hey, I appreciate that though. I mean, yeah, thanks for following, and I hope you enjoy the content. Plenty more to come, but
it's so crazy.
And go back to school when you're comfortable with it.
Yeah, year 6 is early. You could have stayed a bit longer. You could have.
That's early.
That's before intermediate. That is before intermediate. So,
but hey, like
obviously doing all right though. So shout out you. You've done well. Congratulations.
Yes.
Well, all we know about this person is that they're online. I mean, Eno could be
watching Altbays, bro.
They can construct a sentence. Sitting in a hallway on a beanbag, eating a 3-day-old burrito. That could be the situation he's watching Altbays in.
Is that so bad though?
Bro is onto it.
He sounds happy.
Sounds very happy.
Happy with that burrito.
But hey, what a thing. Hey, like I try not to do that because I wouldn't listen to a teacher if they would tell me that. But that thing of enjoy this opportunity that you have, like that you can stay in a place and learn, because as I age, at least I'm like, oh, I wish I had more time to tap into history. You know, I wish I had more time to read more books. I wish I had more time to go and learn something new. And then you see these kids all over because that was me. Fuck, I don't want to learn that. But then you want to tell them, oh, use the time. Use the time.
It's one of the hardest bits about teaching, as you'll know, just trying to show the students that, like, we're teaching for you. Like, this is for your benefit. Lots of them don't really see that. Like, I just kind of think, whatever you learn from me, no matter how hard you try, once you leave here, that doesn't actually affect me. I'm doing all of this to help you on your journey. So if you choose to listen or not, that's like, this is for your future. And like, but students don't understand that. Like, they think you're the big bad wolf, but really, we're just trying to help wherever they are, just progress them along on that journey. You know, we just want the best for them. But I mean, what sort of, 11, 12-year-old sees that perspective? I definitely didn't. And it's a hard thing to.
Yeah. Structural change, Mr. Roberts.
Structural change, who's changing?
Would that be the thing? A structural change in the system of like how we teach to get kids more hooked up on opening a can of worms.
Big can of worms. Education is long, slow moving, and there's so many wonderful things people do. And people, even if the system is one way, 95% of the teachers I know of or have ever heard of almost do it their own way anyway, because they actually know their kids and they have those relationships and they make it work. There's a portion of teachers that are bad. There's a portion of every population, of every group of people that are either lazy, unhappy and at a stale point in their lives, or just a negative person. But generally, in every profession, people do it their own way because they know they can, because it's right. Education is just very special because of the trust model, the safety of kids, the future of kids in your hands. And not only that, but also the ability to put a grade next to people's names. So it's got those delicate, those got to tread lightly and careful and sensitively. But people do their best effort. I know that the system was a bit dumb, and this kid's really enjoying it, so I'm going to stop my whole plan and just keep doing this for 3 days because the kids are happy. And if the kids are happy, that was one step. And if I was clever enough, I would turn that into learning. So I'm not too sure about too big changes in structure. Again, the fantastic insight to perhaps kids should be reading and writing and maybe doing maths at school. And although that's revolutionary, I feel like good teachers were already doing that in some way, shape or form. And the fact that anyone who's alive right now that went to school in government clearly did well at school, they're sort of, I don't know, talking out their bottoms if they're claiming that they need to change and revolutionize the system. Because clearly it worked for them. So they might have had those good, flexible teachers, and perhaps they should allow teachers to have that freedom and trust and autonomy. Keep registration, of course. But good teachers will be good teachers regardless of the structure change.
I agree with that 100%. I think,
yes!
Yeah. I mean, you're preaching to the choir over here. I think one of the things education in Aotearoa does poorly is it doesn't really let teachers with a certain skill set express themselves. So, you know, at the places I work, you might have someone that's really passionate about history like me. You've got people, you know, passionate about film or whatever. More so in the secondary, you can do that because there's the different subjects. But in primary school, you're so structured to having to teach these things in this order. Well, there's lots of incredibly talented teachers that don't get to teach what they're good at. And I think that's a big failure in our system at the moment.
Just on that, a lot of things with primary school is that a lot of teachers I know from a couple of schools I've worked at and family members, you could be a really good music player, performer in a primary classroom, and you might want to integrate that into your general classroom practice. But then you become that music primary teacher, and then the other person is the maths primary teacher and the PE. And yet some families and school communities go, oh, no, it's too confusing for the families and children for you to be different. All the teachers should be a bit more similar to make it easier for transitions, ignoring the fact that life is full of different people and being flexible and adapting. So I sort of see that you being able to teach through a very different lens should be really celebrated, even if the kids in the same year level of a different teacher get a slightly different take on it. They'll meet different teachers all through their life, and that will just be part of their life journey. You don't have to prescribe them exactly how they'll teach and learn.
Yeah, I agree.
Is that sort of
100%. Because for me, one of the things I hate, there's lots of things that I struggle with education, is from such a young age, these children are set up in such a structured way where you've got to do this, you do this, and you've got homework or whatever. We treat them like workers from, you know, the ages of however old up, which is so hard for these children to ever aspire to follow any of their dreams or passions. You know, you get taught from such an early age that these are the jobs that are good, they're acceptable. And I think a lot of children, way too young, decide that their dreams aren't possible. And it's one of my biggest things as a teacher. That's one of the reasons I do these projects, you know, the projects with Liam Finn, Jason Kerrison, is to give them a little taste, to just show them that these dreams aren't as far away as you think. And, you know, you're young enough that you can put all your effort, all of your determination towards these things. You know, you're too young to decide you want to do this office job, you know. Live your life. Chase your passions with everything you have. You know, because you only get this one life. And it's something I didn't do until later. Like, I'm starting to do it now from my history thing. And even the start of it was very intimidating, you know. It's just, am I ready to put myself out there? But, you know, at the end of the day, you only have this life once. You may as well follow what you're passionate about, because we'll end up in the ground at some point.
That's a great place to end the conversation. We're all going to die.
That's us.
Yeah,
We're all
I'm
gonna
tired,
die.
mate. I need to go get ready for work.
Get out of here, Mr. Roberts. Thank you very much for Kuatunu Store. Hey, what a place in Kuatunu. So the Kuatunu Store is a general store. So all your needs, everything you need. If you're coming for a holiday, that's the place to go and shop if you are staying right there. And if you are traveling around the Coromandel, you stop there. They have a beautiful ice cream shop. They have a coffee cart and also the Kua Caravan. Oh man, those burgers. So they shout us some beautiful kai tonight. How was those burgers?
Jalapeno poppers as well.
Oh,
Gotta love a gherkin in a burger.
best burger I've had in ages. Make sure you check them out. Incredible.
Kua Caravan. We should write their jingle. Ready? I'll do the beats. You guys like Kua Caravan. Ready?
Kua Caravan.
Kua Caravan.
Kua Caravan.
Kua Caravan.
Kua Caravan.
Cool.
Oh, yeah.
Ready. There you go. We had them on the screen. So Kua Caravan, we got the number. It's coming soon. You guys were watching the show, so you've seen them. And we also have, look at that, Coromine Magazine, beautiful community project celebrating its first. Just so I finished that. So 16 Blackjack Road in Kuatunu. That's Kuatunu Store. And Coromines.nz, you can read the online version and also access the audio version of this beautiful community project brought to you by the Flock Media Group and the Coromandel community. Beautiful local artists, local stories, even festivals. We got it all, man. Issue 12, Mr. Michael Smither on the cover, a really honor for us, always an epic local artist. And we also have Mr. Fabian Roberts helping us with the online version. Which
Coromine.nz.
There you go.
That was good.
Hey, if you want the real thing, go listen on a Spotify or anywhere you listen to good audio stories.
It was pretty good. Aotearoa History _ Make sure to go on Instagram and follow Lachie's page to learn a little bit more about the country where you're from, or if you are a foreigner just like me, the country that has welcomed you so well. So you should learn about its culture. Anywhere else, bro? Or for now, Instagram?
Instagram, and I think the same username on TikTok, but that's it for now.
Cool. Gotta focus, eh? Gotta focus on what you're doing and make it
Start
grow.
small.
That's it.
Yeah.
Bro,
Awesome.
thank you so much, man.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I've loved having this korero. It's been fun. Yeah.
We'll
been nice talking to a fellow teacher over there.
There you go.
Ex-teacher, I'm now a DJ.
Yeah. DJ and jingle writer. So
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
put that on the CV.
We'll bring you back, bro.
I'd love to be back. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Mr. Roberts?
Peace out, brother.
Peace out. And we're back on Thursday. If the flight goes well, we're going to have Mr. MC Slave from Fat Freddy's Drop. And Bobby Brazuca, our favorite DJ from Ponsonby Social Club. It's going to be fun. I'll see you there. Kakite. Peace.